to the Exodus group, and thank you for joining us. Make sure you please subscribe, share, and also go to our Patreon page and support the Exodus group. Right now, we're doing a lot with others who are helping those. We are helping those who are getting out of the organization. Right now, I have one lady right now who's been, oh my goodness, not to tell too much of her business, but she's in court right now. To support her by being there in the courtroom with her, so if you're able to support, please go to our Patreon page or also to our Facebook page or DM me and let me know how you're able to support. Thank you. So today, as you know, the Exodus group does a lot with empowering us and knowing that we are powerful and that just because you're out of an organization, you're not alone. And that's one of the things that the Watchtower Society drilled in our heads, is that we were alone, you were the only one, and what have you. And if you know my story, it took me 15 years for me to understand that I was not alone. There's a support group out there, and there are other things that I can do and not keep reliving this cycle of self-destruction. Today, we have a special guest, and I can't wait for this interview because we've already got started talking. I had to stop her 2 or 3 times already, and I cannot wait to see what she has to share on empowerment, on being a woman, and how she's been successful in her life after Jehovah's Witnesses. So please welcome Courtney Nicole. Courtney, thank you so much for being on the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Courtney, when I first saw you on your page, I was scrolling because you know how YouTube does that thing where it just keeps, watch this video, and you kept popping up, okay?
Up next.
Hey, she Spirit was like, I believe things happen for a reason, and you just kept going, and I kept seeing this face, and I was like, who is she? Okay, finally I just hit click. And your story, Courtney, being the eldest daughter myself, being we were 2 different eldest daughters, no offense, but child, you were the one I wanted to be. I was a straight eldest daughter. I was the one that was pioneering everything. I didn't lose my virginity till I was 21. I didn't do anything wrong. I was stand up in the organization. Okay, y'all, listen. We're going to have a real conversation today because her story, you got to go to her page to listen to her story. We'll put her page in the description. But she has a story for y'all that will knock y'all off. But you were the kid that I was like, how did she get away with that?
Double life. Double life. Okay, sorry.
I mean, I had a little double life, but I hung out with the Christian kids. I hung out with the Catholics. That was my double life until I hit 21 and my vagina literally walked out the door and looked at me like, I'm going.
You come in or not?
Right, that's exactly what she did. Because if you're not, I'm going to find some dude that you don't want. But this is going to happen today. That's what she did.
Absolutely.
So,
I get it.
A couple of questions, Courtney. Tell us about yourself, how long you're a witness, what brought you into the truth, and how, just a quick story, not the whole story, the synopsis of your story.
For sure. Well, I was a witness for about 29 years. I'm 31 now, so I've been out for about 2 years now. And I was a born Jehovah's Witness. So didn't know anything else, never been to church, never even thought about another religion. So my parents are, still there, but my dad's an elder, like you mentioned. My mom's a faithful sister. My parents both work, so my mom never really pioneered or anything like that. But
You were lucky. My mama was a pioneer. My dad wouldn't let her. Never mind. My dad would not let her work till we were 16. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and even though my mom didn't pioneer, she's definitely very devoted. So I grew up, and I am the only child. So I grew up taking the organization very serious, no celebrations of, holidays. And I was the kid that stepped out and went to the library and, went out on field service every Saturday and Sunday after meeting.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Absolutely. I was real, and then, I started getting into some trouble, some issues, later on, and struggling with the truth at the time. And that's when I kind of got into my little judicial cases that I've had. And like,
How
y'all don't
many
want to
did
go
you
into too
have?
much detail, but
I'm sorry. How many did you have?
total, I've had 6
Okay. All right.
judicials. Um, resulting, 3 of them resulted in disfellowshipment. 2 of them private reproof. Actually, how many did I say?
You said 6.
Might be 7. Okay, sorry. Right, might be 7. But so 3 disfellowships, 2 public reproofs, and 2 private reproofs. So yeah, 6. 6.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this question.
Oh,
This is, I haven't put this on my Reddit page yet, but I really want to know, and I want to ask some people. What was the worst thing that the elders asked you? Because I remember the worst thing they asked me. They asked me how many times I had sex before marriage, and what position, and have I had oral. So what was the worst thing that they asked you in these meetings? Because no one really believes you, especially outside of the organization. What they ask you in these judicial meetings?
Yeah. I had those questions too. So I
Mm-hmm.
was definitely going to say that was probably one of the worst ones. They asked me what position did we use, how many times did we have sex, in the settings. And I'm just like, we were having sex. I mean, have you ever had sex before? What do you mean? But that was when I was like younger. And so one of my later judicial cases, I actually, my husband and I, we had gotten to an adulterous situation. I was the adulterer. The
Right.
and they made him sit in on my committee
I
case.
remember you saying
Yeah,
that.
they made him sit in on my committee case. And you know what's interesting is that, and sorry if I'm going off on a tangent, but I think it's
It's
kind of in
okay.
line with what we're talking about. So I found your page, well, you through XJW Analyzer, because he
Uh-huh.
did an interview on you, and I
Yes,
found your
yes.
story extremely interesting. Because we do have a lot of similarities, in the way that we grew up with, both of our families being diehard witnesses, our fathers being elders. So, we get it, right? And so I found that interesting with you. I just, really wanted to connect with you or whatever, because I appreciated your story. But with that being said, I mean, like, I found you on XJW Analyzer, and one of the things that he had on his page was the shepherd the flock. He kind of broke it down, right? He broke the book down
I
and
love
broke
those
down some of the
videos.
secrets, right?
Yes.
So one of the things that I did not know that I know now from that is because shout out to XJW Analyzer, because
Shout out to
she
Analyzer. I tag you in there.
hey,
Thank you.
hey,
Thank you.
you the one. Um See, you got me out here acting the fool. All right,
I'm gonna
but
act
no.
with you. You know, a little over here. Okay. You might be where you are, and I'm not here, but right now we real right now. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. So on the page, on his page, he had the shepherd the flock. He kind of broke down, exposed some of the things in there. And what I found interesting was there is actually in there that the wife, if I'll start, if the husband commits adultery and you go before the brothers and everything like that, the wife, will not sit in on that. But the other
They
way,
actually asked the husband,
yeah,
does he want the wife to sit in on that? Which is more than likely a no.
no.
So therefore, no matter what, okay, so backstory, pause 1 second. For those who are not Jehovah's Witnesses and don't know, a judicial hearing is when the pastor or the elder of the congregation, we call our pastors elders, of the congregation will sit down with you, and you'll have 3 persons, men, and in our cases, we're women, 3 men who will sit down along with you and sit there and ask you personal questions about your sin. And in this sin, they will ask you questions about, hey, what sexual positions you were in, how many times you had sex, did you like it, did you or ooh, did you have oral, whatever you could think that is the most raunchiest thing to ask is what they will ask. Mm-hmm. Now, in these judicial hearings, if your husband's alone with these 3 men, the men will keep it by themselves because they have a clergy clause or what have you. And this is when they uphold their clergy clause. So they will not tell the wife if the husband has AIDS, if the husband has other children, if the husband has cancer, whatever they disclose to these three men, they will not tell to the wife. And in this book, and I don't know if you're going here, I'm sorry I mentioned this, but JW Analyzer says they will say it's okay for the elder to go to the wife and say, hey, you need to talk to your husband. And if the husband says, no, you don't have anything to worry about, the elder just needs to go back, hey, you need to talk to your husband. And that's the only thing the elder can say.
Yep.
So no matter if the woman has an STD, she doesn't know to go get tested for AIDS. Yeah. She doesn't know to go get tested for any, fuck this, bullshit that could be health damaging to her children and everybody else. And so, but like you just mentioned in your judicial committee, your husband was there. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, that's the point where you could have a protection, that same protection that your husband could have.
Absolutely. And then what I found so interesting, well, really, it's disturbing, is that right under that, it goes on to say, in the event that the wife is the adulterer, that the husband will sit in on her committee case. And so therefore there won't be any secrets. So whatever you told me, or whatever I told you, that's what I'm going to have to tell those brothers. And that's exactly what happened with me. In my story, I think it was my part 3, I did kind of talk about the situation that happened between me and my ex-husband. But just to give you a little background, he committed adultery first, and then I did not sit in on his committee case or anything. So when it was my turn, when I committed adultery second, I was just assuming, I'm going to, go to my meeting or whatever. And they called me the morning of and told me, hey, we just want to let you know, that your husband's going to have to sit in on your committee. And I just was like, well, why? And they were just pretty much like, that's just the way it is. I think they probably gave me some, headship mumbo jumbo, how they do.
He's the head of your family. He's the head of your household.
Yeah, he's the head of your household. He's the head of your family. You need to be in submission, and it is what it is. And I'm sure I rolled with it. And I was just like, so as we were there, this leads back to, that long little tangent to get back to.
Okay, let's slow. I'm
okay. The long little tangent just to get back to uncomfortable question was the fact that while my husband is sitting there, they're asking me questions about the situation that happened while he's there. And I'm just like, oh my God. And so at the time, I really, and I'll be honest, I didn't want to be in my marriage anymore, and had I been able to be honest, and not have him there, I probably would have been honest from the get-go, but I lied. He was sitting there, because it was uncomfortable. Like, I wasn't, what is this? Married at first sight? I'm just sitting here like, are we at a reunion special? Why do I have to say these questions? Like, I felt like it's like you got 3 brothers sitting there and they all sitting there like, now. And I'm just sitting there like, and he's sitting, and my husband's sitting there too. So it's like 4 men, 1 woman. And I'm just sitting there like, so when, of course, naturally, when they asked me, do you really want this marriage? Out of pressure, peer pressure, that's surely what it is. I said, yeah. And they said, okay. Because the thing about it is, in this case, I think they wanted to see our family succeed. So I think they were trying to find any reason not to disfellowship me actually at this point. But they were like, okay, well, we'll just publicly reprove you. Mm-hmm. And then later on, I was right back, and that time is, when I got disfellowships, and I haven't been back since then. So, yeah.
So when after you left the organization, and I think how long have you been out now?
2 years.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So after you left the organization, have you tried to live by Watchtower standards, or do you see yourself living by Watchtower standards, and what examples do you give? Have you seen yourself kind of go, wait, hold up, do I still do that, and why do I do that?
Well, for me, I always felt like I was a free spirit. So every time I was disfellowshipped, I lived my life to the fullest. I never lived by Bible standards at all. But there were certain things that I shied away from that I wouldn't go too far, like the first 2 times I got disfellowshipped. So I say like, things that would be permanent. I always loved body art. I was into tattoos and piercings and things like that. But I would never do anything wild or crazy with my hair, or, you know what I'm saying? Because it was always kind of like, I may go back, or I'm gonna go back, or whatever, and
Right,
this
right.
particular
That was
time.
when Mama knew I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna go back.
Yeah.
The first thing I did was get a tattoo.
First thing, right? And see, the thing about it, and I didn't exactly. So it was just kind of like, and when I was on my double life thing, I had tattoos, but my tattoos were always covered. You could never really see them. So after this last time I got disfellowshipped, and I really was out for real, for real. I did some things to express myself outwardly. Like I got tattoos, visible tattoos that
Right.
you can't ignore. I got my nose pierced, and those types of things were ways to expressions, things that I felt like I hadn't been able to do, before. And I was just happy that I was able to finally say, like, hey, this is who I am. I didn't want to live by Watchtower standards, like Bible standards at all. But I did struggle, I think, a little bit in the beginning when I first left, with probably the idea of being destroyed, bringing myself, and this is before I woke completely up, but like when I still, at one point when I first left, it was just kind of like, hey, I'm not going back, I guess I'm just gonna have to be okay with being destroyed, and I had to be okay with that. Like, and so once I brought myself to be okay with being destroyed, then it was just kind of like, okay, I know I'm a good person and everything, but when I woke up and realized that that wasn't true, it was just like, oh, I'm not gonna, like, and so all the Bible standards have gone out the window, gone. That away.
Oh, well, okay, so backstory for me personally, I got this fellowship in August of 2001.
Okay.
So wow. September 11th happened.
And you was
2000.
I know you was, let me tell you.
Oh, girl.
I know you was scared.
I had my Bible like this.
You said, I know you was sit.
I was opening it.
I know. You had to be the scaredest thing walking. I know you was, because everybody thought that was the end. We was, everybody thought September 11th was the end, baby. I'm talking about our Kingdom Hall was packed. And it was on a meeting night for us, girl. Everybody.
Oh, was it?
It was. I think it was on a Tuesday or Thursday, one of those days. Yeah.
I can't remember.
No, it was a Tuesday because our book studies were on Thursday. So yeah.
Okay.
And everybody was there. So I know you were scared. New World Translation.
I think my mama called me.
And what happened?
What year is this now? Anyway. Not a damn thing happened. We got through it. Well, my boyfriend was like, you know what, baby, come here. And I'm like, oh, penis. And that's what happened.
I understand. I do.
I love penis. Thank you.
I do. I get it.
I'm good now. My wig is back on straight.
Yes. We're good.
If I'm going to go out happy, I'm going to go out.
We're good. Happy.
Okay. I at least made this orgasm.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So what about your dad? You talked a lot about your dad holding his fellowship, his eldership, and what happens is you'll learn more about in her story. But when you're an elder's child or a pastor's kid or a preacher's kid, as they can, PK's in the house. When you're a preacher's kid, basically, they hold you responsible for your dad's position. So when I got this fellowship, there was a whole judicial meeting and what have you. And I did get a call from my dad saying, hey, I might not be able to keep my eldership, whatever, because you sure can't come back. And for me personally, it was a matter of moving between cities. I live 90 miles south from Atlanta. No, I moved 90 miles south from Atlanta And I had a job starting that next week, and they literally wanted me to stay back in that city, that small city. And I need at least 2 million people to feel at home. What about you? How did they put that pressure on you to make you feel like you were responsible for his position in the organization?
Well, actually, my father was the one that really pressed it, because in my judicial case, like it was all about me during that time. They never really like mentioned anything about my dad. They would kind of say, couple my parents, group them together, just kind of say, what about your parents, or your parents, look how they'll say the three things you've hurt. You've hurt Jehovah, you've hurt your parents, and you've hurt the congregation.
And of course, the little kids that are looking up to you.
And everyone who's looking up to you. And it's like, yeah. So those were the things they were saying. That's what the brother said. But like my parents, they definitely made it known. And like that they were disappointed. And also like, because my father actually had to step down because of me, either 2 or 3 times. And the last time I wasn't even living with them, so it was just kind of like, why are y'all putting this man through this again? And he wasn't aware of anything that I was doing, and I guess I can somewhat understand the concept of them saying, hey, if you can't control, your household, how can we look at you to control or help, shepherd the congregation? I kind of get that, but I just look at it like I definitely think that should be on a basis of agreement. That should be something that the brother should want to do. If he feels that he can handle it and he hasn't done anything wrong and he's able to successfully get his family back on track, then I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with him continuing to serve, but it's kind of like they dangle the position in front of you and then they take it away from you, and that's just not right. And so what that does is a snowball effect. So of course, the person you're upset with is the person that you feel is causing this, because especially if you're not guilty of anything, and it's like,
right, exactly,
you did this to me. And my parents definitely were expressed that. They expressed that disappointment constantly. And I definitely can say that the Watchtower is responsible for ripping my family apart, because that definitely had an effect on my parents. I don't blame my parents. And it took me a long time to not blame them, because I had so much pent up anger and aggression towards them, because I just felt like, why can't you be loving like the Bible says, and this, that, and the other, where another brother treated. And when I realized all of the organizational stuff was bullshit, like you said, that's when I let it go for my parents, because I didn't feel the need to be angry with them anymore. They were doing what they were brainwashed. So when you're brainwashed, you don't get it, because oh, sorry.
No,
we back?
I'm about to die, but I'm okay. Keep going.
Okay. I was, brainwashed as well. I wasn't brainwashed probably to an extreme, but obviously I believed the things that I've been taught my whole life. So I forgave my parents for a lot of the hurtful things and comments and, things that they did, while we were going through that and living in the same household. But, it is what it is. What can, you just let it go.
I think personally, for me, once you realize and study and look up and read Crisis of Conscience and read some things going on and looking up stuff and questioning things yourself and actually start questioning things, that's when you look at them. And I don't want to say this in a negative way, because I have parents still in the organization too, but it just as a mindset thing, in that you're children. And I can't blame you for what you choose to feed on. And when I did that, I was able to forgive them more freely. Yes, it still hurts. Mother's Day still hurts. Christmas still hurts. Her birthday still hurts. Everything still hurts. But I'm able to go, you know what? You're feeding off of something that makes you be a child. You're feeding off of something that makes you be what you are right now, this way. And that's your mindset. And, in the organization, they literally say, be a child of God. Be a child of God. And for me, that was one of the things I held on to for so long, is this child mentality for so long, that I did not grow up until I was in my mid-30s. So, Courtney, what things that you need to do, what do you find yourself needing to do to heal mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically? If you want to talk about it sexually, what things did you do to heal yourself so that you are not stuck in that mindset all the time? I know you live the devil life, but still there's some things that we're still embedded with since you were in the organization since at such a young age.
Absolutely. Growing up in it, that's all I knew. So when I first started waking up, I went through like a grieving process. I was extremely hurt, and I was sad. I was scared, because I just felt like everything had been kind of snatched out from under me. So the first things that I did was I did start going to therapy. I did that because I needed to be able to voice my feelings to someone who was completely unbiased and who also knew how to deal with those emotions that I was feeling, because I honestly felt like somebody was, had died or whatever. And so because of that, I needed to talk to her. And she did a wonderful job with helping me get through it. She also dealt with different Jehovah's Witnesses, which I found interesting because I was like, wow, like other witnesses, and she was like, yeah, like ones that are still in the organization. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And I just was like, wow, so she said she's definitely dealt with, Jehovah's Witness couples for marital counsel, stuff like that. So she's definitely had experience with Jehovah's Witnesses. So that was pretty good for me. And then too, I would say, so that actually helped with like the mental piece. And then I started researching. That kind of helped me with my spiritual piece because it helped me to become okay with everything and opening my mind spiritually and allowing myself to feel different energies and to get a better understanding or try to get a better understanding of who we are as people, what our purpose could possibly be here. And I feel like the organization limits that. It's like the Bible, that's it, the Bible. You bet not look at nothing else but the Bible. And you like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, or the Bible and the material that we print. So, that's it. So you can't think about anything else. And so I found comfort in my research because all those things that I, through life that I will always dismiss, like, well, what about this? Evolution. I could talk on that real quick. Evolution is something that obviously, you are not supposed to think, when you're supposed to give your teacher a pamphlet at the beginning of the school year and say, look, teach, don't you be teaching about no damn evolution. We witnesses and we believe in the Bible and here's reasons why. That's what we do.
God created the shit.
And God created everything. Everything. And it's like, okay, I know a teacher's probably like, thank you, little Courtney. We appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But so not thinking about evolution and thinking logically. You understand? Like that's, to me, what has helped me a lot because I appreciate those pages like XJW Analyzer, XJW Critical Thinker, because it's in John Cedars and everybody, because it's like they present information to you for you to be able to be like, oh, yeah, it's like the organization does not want you to think.
It literally just clicks.
Exactly.
It literally clicks. And you're like, wait.
Absolutely.
Hold up. And I can't tell you, even watching your video, I might have cried one or two times. I'm like, oh, I remember that. Wait, hold up. I'm glad I didn't get married in an organization because he would have to sit down and you. Wait, what? Yeah. It literally clicks how misogynistic or whatever, but while you're in it, you don't see it.
You don't see it. And it's, and I think that another thing too, where I felt sad was I felt bad for my parents, because my parents, it was just like, wow, you guys are older. I feel like you could have possibly wasted your life, and it's kind of like when you're kind of, waking up, you just kind of look at it like it seems stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh my God. It's like, I believe that. Wait,
no. I believe that me doing this is respect.
Right.
When a man's in the room like this, right here, if I need to do a prayer right now, this is This little index card is respect. This is what God is looking for, is an index card on my head.
To show that I'm, you know, and it's just like, so once I kind of was able to do my research, I went to therapy. That kind of opened me up spiritually, mentally, physically. I just feel like you're so used to being up and doing stuff, right? Because you get into a routine. So it's kind of like you get active in it. So you're going out in service all the time. You're always going to the meetings. It's like when you're a Jehovah's Witness, you're busy because you're always doing something, you know? And so physically, I just feel like I definitely dived into my job. You know, I've opened, you know, started doing other things because it's like the organization wants you to feel like you can't be a good person unless you are a Jehovah's Witness. So I volunteer. Yes, you got to knock on the door. So let me tell you what I'm doing. It's 9 o'clock. I know you didn't work all week and you're eating with your family and everything. But let me ask you a question right now. I'm benefiting the community. No. So what I'm doing now, I try to do other things. You know, I volunteer. I'm a part of a Chicago-based kind of like a coalition type of group, try to do different things to try to help the community and things like that, the youth. And I volunteered this past weekend to help underprivileged girls find dresses for prom. You know what I mean? So I
what
do.
About Jehovah's Witness volunteer? They say that knocking on doors and they're helping saving lives.
Right. That's volunteering. How about we help people like in the real life, in the real world? You know what I'm saying? Let me help you put some food in your belly. Let me help you do this, that, and other.
Pamphlet, that's volunteering.
That's volunteering. For hours.
90 hours. I was out there. I was regular.
See you? 90. Baby.
90, girl.
Woo!
90.
Woo, Lord. Jeez. Ooh, that's a lot. See me, I just, ooh, Lord. Girl, no.
I told y'all, look at you when we first started this, y'all. I looked at her and said, you were the person I wanted to be. Like, I look at you and go, she's still a witness, because if you were privately approved, I didn't know that. So you're still answering your hand. And I'm like, she's still Jehovah loves her. And I'm for 90 hours.
Exactly. And when you start thinking about stuff like that,
right.
It really, really, it's like, wow, you know, it makes sense, you know. And so physically, I started doing other things. So that kind of helped with that, made new friends. You know, it's so, Jehovah's Witness is always no. No. You can't talk to nobody. So being able, when your coworkers say, hey, you want to go get a drink?
No.
Why the hell not? You know, that's kind of like what my mentality was now. Like, because you instantly want to be like, no, or, oh, I have to. And so when now you get invited somewhere, it's like, yeah. I can actually go. I can actually make friends, you know, because
I have a meeting at Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. Wait, I don't have a meeting. I don't have to study for the meeting. I don't have to, you know, and I mean that right there, like finding new friends, that's helped a lot. And then also too, I say YouTube has been like probably a really big thing for me because number one, you see how you make connections, you meet people, and I feel like that's extremely important because this is a very unique journey. You will not understand this journey to its full magnitude unless you've actually experienced this. You can support somebody all you want. You could be there. I can cry on your shoulder and all of that. But unless somebody can say, I understand because I too was in it, that's a whole different dynamic right there. And to have that community on YouTube, that is like huge. And I encourage anybody to do that. Like because you will find information, you'll connect with people. Just even being able, just like you scroll on Facebook, you're looking at, when people look at comments, you know, you want to see what people said about it. It's the same thing. You got videos on here and people are leaving comments that you can connect with, you know, like I feel the same way, you know what I mean? Like, and just knowing that you're not the only person that feel like that, or the video might have some information and somebody else may feel opposite in the comments, you know what I mean? And it's like, wow, I connect with that, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
and
it's definitely.
hey, Watchtower in paragraph 2, chapter 3 says Jehovah is God's name. And I can read it from here, and we all know this already, but I raised my hand and just said it, and all of a sudden, we're just circling the same information, like we're just taking up the same plate. Let's have some diversity.
Hold on, wait. Let me break down the last, since you said that, let me break down the last maybe 4 years of the convention themes. Never give up. Don't give up. Stop giving up. I said, wait a minute now. What was it last year?
Pants.
Right. What was it last year? Don't give up. Okay, this year is
that. I don't know what
stop giving up. It's like, okay. Look, I'm gonna need y'all to come up with some new stuff.
Go pack your Armageddon bag.
Right. Get to go bag. It's girl.
All right, Courtney. Talking about the conventions and your tight pants and never giving up. Let's talk about your boy Tony. Your boy Tony was called in the liquor store. And I can't wait to hear your commentary on this. This was not the list of questions that I sent you or whatever, but you're the type of girl like me that I cannot wait to hear your response and your feedback. This man who's supposed to have a vow of poverty and a vow of, service to the organization, to the Lord, as Medea would say, because I live in Atlanta. Medea would say the Lord. And you buying $800, $900 bottles, or how much those bottles cost, I don't know, but you bought at least 12.
At least.
And don't look for yourself.
The minimum.
And at the John Cedars thing, and one of the guys said he's buying like an alcoholic, and I have alcoholics in my family too. And when he pointed this out, that made sense. He said he's buying one. You buying at 11:30 on a Sunday, which means everybody that you would know is in church. 2, you are buying 25 miles away. You don't pass at the liquor stores. So if it was for Gilead, you would have A, had them ship it there, or B, had some minion go do it. You, a governing body member, don't go buy groceries for the White House. So therefore, Courtney, you need to go.
Because I'm about to bust out my chair right now.
Hold on. I'm gonna sit down and sip my Jesus blood right here while Courtney discusses this part.
All right. First of all, I ain't never really had a problem with Tony Morris. You know what I'm saying? I never really had a problem with him until I realized that he was the brother that was instituting this whole tight pants fiasco. Okay? So when I saw that, I said, oh, Tony, really? It's you?
Because you're gay. The gays and you're metrosexual. Go ahead.
I'm like, what? It's you, Tony? Okay, whatever. Nonetheless, I kind of felt the way about him then, but it was just like, whatever, I ain't a brother, so I didn't have to deal with that mess. But okay.
Right.
But seeing him in this liquor store, buying up the liquor, it's a few things that I got a problem with. First of all, the first thing is you was buying it for yourself, okay? Because why wouldn't you have a helper go get it? If it was that makes no sense. CEOs have secretaries. Like you said, Donald Trump has affiliates to go out and get him stuff. You have helpers. So why wouldn't you send your helper, like if it was for a Gilead graduation, for the memorial, whatever, why wouldn't someone else be assigned to do that?
Wait, okay? 145,000 Drake McKellen. 12. I'm sorry. Okay. I need to be 144,000. I'm 100. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What kind of memorial celebration are we having? Then, in the video, he got on a whole little trench coat with the hat pulled down. And I said, wait a minute, are you trying to be in disguise? Not only are you leaving, you went far away. Now you're in disguise, okay?
Yes.
And then the thing about it is you got caught slipping because you're sitting up just talking to anybody. This boy, hey, whiskey, and you running your mouth. Yeah, my wife liked that whiskey. Mm-hmm. Boy, you got to be all over the internet. Just talking. Don't like what? If you just did all this, put the disguise on, drove far away, and
Girl,
all of
you
this,
work hard.
and still caught slipping. I said, okay, what?
No, you know what Watchtower gonna say? Because they will always tell me this. Jehovah's gonna always find a way to make it known what's going
He
on.
will. He's gonna find a way. And I mean, me personally, like, I do feel that Tony should not. I mean, because of that, I I don't know what it was for. You know what I mean? I think all the evidence points to it was probably for personal use or whatever the case may be. But what's disturbing about it, what I don't like, and people like, they had somebody call and did like a prank call to the branch, and I don't know if you've seen that or not, but it was like a prank call, and he was like, hey, asking, like he was talking in this accent, asking about the money that Tony used to get the liquor. He was saying, where did he get this money from? That's interesting. Now, it could be his own personal funds. It
True.
could be. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want to do, you got $800-900 to spend on liquor, though? Because my thing is, how? I ain't got $800-900 to spend on liquor. How do you? And you don't work for a living. I'm sorry, I get up every day.
You are a volunteer.
You are a volunteer. So how are you affording this? First of all, so that makes you wonder. I don't like that, because that, to me, that reads shady,
Right.
And then also, too, hearing of all the different reasons people have gotten disfellowship, had different judicial cases or whatever. You are someone of high stature, prestige in this organization. You are a governing body member. Millions of people are following you. Okay.
Yes.
So because of that, you need to be held accountable at the highest regard. There should not be any sort of, I'm overlooking this, or we all, no, because there were several brothers and several sisters that y'all didn't feel were repentant, or their heart condition wasn't right, and you wasn't even there. We see you on camera.
Let's see you. Joe Blow go we caught with a regular liquor store.
Right, in a regular liquor store. Buy one bottle of whiskey.
Right.
How many did we say? 12 minimum. Okay, you packing them in the back of the lack. In the back of the lack. In the back of the lack. Got you a nice little caddy, huh? Girl, I said, what? So what I feel about that situation, Tony Morris needs to step down. That's what I don't want to see your ass on no more JW broadcast. You understand? Don't get on there brainwashing folks, and you out here.
I don't know if you saw my newest video. I put it up like 2 days ago. I was going through videos on jw.org, looking up some stuff, and I ran across one called Pass the Drink, aimed at teenagers. And I was like, wait, Tony, it says pass the drink on your own website. Don't drink too much, call somebody, whatever, this, that, and the other.
You even have articles describing how things should be done at parties, how gatherings, you know what I mean?
If you don't know,
don't pressure anyone to drink.
They literally will tell you how things should operate and everything. I remember when I turned 21 in the organization, we had my birthday's in June, so most times my birthday fell on a 3-day convention. And we went out, and I just turned 21 maybe 2 days ago. So, of course, the kids are still kids, and we're still hanging out because I was raised, we're whatever. But I was like, let me get a beer. Because brother so-and-so, who's an elder, bought a beer. So I'm like, okay, it's cool. I'm going to take a step. My parents don't drink. So I'm like, I'm going to buy a beer. My dad pulled me to the side and was like, no, why'd you buy a beer? I'm 21. I'm not sharing it with anybody. This is my drink. How's it going to look in front of everybody else? I'm 21. If they're 20, I'm sorry. If they're 18, I'm sorry. If they're 15, I'm 21.
You ain't there yet. You still got some years, okay? I paid my time.
Catch up.
It's my time now.
Later. Hold up. I got you later. But not right now.
Not right now. It's my time.
And he made me put that drink back.
How did that make you feel?
less than. This organization, and that's why I started the Exodus group, honestly, and this is my healing for me personally. The whole Exodus group is my healing, is because I felt less than for so long. And that everything from my parents, if I even asked, I remember I asked for something for school, and my dad pulled out the Bible and was like, what does the Bible say? I asked for a book that we needed from Barnes and Noble from school. I didn't ask for the Bible. I needed my father to go get me the book so I could get an A. Not the Bible to tell you what to do in your house. Oh, that doesn't make sense. If this is your household, why do you need to turn to the Bible? Yes, God is God. If we believe in God, cool. But you're my father. You're my head. Then go get me this book so I can get an A. You know I'm an all A student. I got a 4.0 right now. So, yeah, needless to say, when I got out, I jumped all the way over the fence and never looked back. Guilty as hell, but, hey, felt guilty, but never really. Yeah, it was a very, very, my whole experience was very just hold yourself down, hold yourself down, hold yourself. You can only be a pioneer. And coming out, that's why I watch so many YouTube videos now, because coming out is like, it was misogynistic. Oh, I never realized that. I didn't know that word. I didn't know that we had power. I didn't know I could be president. I didn't know it could be Toni Morris. I thought, and even coming up with my boyfriend, I need to do an interview with him. When we first got together, I don't mean to take over your story, sorry.
No, it's fine.
But when we got together, and I still do this, and that's why I asked you what things you sometimes do. If we get into an argument, I will. What do you need me to do? And that's my energy. And I do that on purpose to show you my energy as, yes, sir, what do you need me to do? Yada, yada, yada. And not being, and he'll look at me, and I'm lucky enough to be with a partner right now that goes, pick up my head and go, no, you are my partner. You tell me what you want. I'll tell you what I want, and we'll meet halfway. And just because we disagree does not mean I'm going to disown you today. And yes, sometimes it takes me a little while longer to talk than usual, but I'm a whole lot better than what I was in 2001, because I never said anything in then. So it was always a way of being servant. You're always servant. You're always second. And yeah, never going back.
I love the fact that you just said that you ended it that way, when you said that look on your face, and you just was like, I can see that look of, it's almost like a Rolodex in your head, and it's rolling about, and you like, nope, I ain't never going back. And that's exactly how I feel. Like I said, and I made another video about like a couple tips about leaving, exiting the religion. And in the beginning, I said, there's nothing that nobody could tell me that's gonna make me go back. I'm sorry, it's not. Like, it's not. Like, I'm so far gone.
Right?
Like, I am so far gone. What I found interesting in the questionnaire that I really liked that you sent me was the acronyms for where you are in your journey. And I am POMO for sure. Okay. Physically out, mentally out, I'm out. But I would feel extremely, my heart aches for ones who are physically in but mentally out, because that's hard, to be, maybe your mate believes and you don't, and you have to support your mate and go to the hall, regardless of your true feelings, because maybe you're a sister and you don't want to rock, you know what I mean?
Rock the boat. Who are in because they don't want to lose their families.
Your family. Your family.
And
that's huge, man.
Watching Scientology and the aftermath, I'm just dying. I'm kind of glad that the religion already cut my ties with the family in some ways, so that when I left, I was like, if that's what you call love, nigga, I don't want it. Excuse me.
Exactly.
But that's exactly where I was. And so
I feel
that when my parents don't even talk to me anymore, it's like, I'll find a new mother. I have 5, 6, 10. I have 10 women I call mother now. And I am so excited and so happy I can talk to them.
That's wonderful. That is so wonderful. Like, for real. That is
And
wonderful.
plenty of people that I call, because I've always wanted a brother. I have 2 or 3 brothers, and when I need them, and countless sisters, and people that claim me.
That's right. That actually love you.
That actually love me. And like
That
I told
actually
someone
love you.
else, I could come out the closet tomorrow. I'm not gay, but if I did, they'll go, oh, okay. So anyway, are you still buying this wine? Like, it's not a big.
It's not like, oh my God, we got to call the brothers. Where's my
Right.
phone? Up all night talking because your family's disappointed. You got to call the brothers. Now the brothers gonna call you to get a little preliminary interview before they pull you together to talk. And I mean,
Oh, the questions before you knew you were in trouble.
it's really it's rough. It really is. I definitely can say it takes a huge toll on you mentally. Me personally, I suffer from anxiety, and I do battle with depression on and off, but anxiety is something I've had for a very long time. And with someone that's battling with anxiety, this religion will make you go insane because you're constantly worried about what's going
Armageddon.
on. You're
Armageddon.
worried about Armageddon. Every decision you make is going to lead back to that because
Does
that's
God
what it
love me?
is.
Does
Does
God love
God
me
love
because I
me?
chose this makeup?
Yeah.
Does God love me because I chose this toilet paper?
Yep.
Does God love me because I like this new? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, I wore this top that showed my breasts, and it stumbled. Brother so-and-so looked at my titties the wrong way while he paused, because y'all know he's look good today. And he did this. And now he stumbled. And now because I stumbled brother so-and-so and he had to go masturbate.
Yeah.
I'm wrong.
Yep. You're wrong.
I'm wrong.
Why were you looking sexy? Okay. Why? Why were you? Why were you looking sexy?
Why were you looking your best?
Why were you looking your best? Allow me to turn with you. Do you have your Bible?
I have my Bible handy.
Come on. Let me share a couple scriptures with you. It's like,
okay.
What the? And that goes back.
Yeah, I put it out quick too.
I know.
The world translation.
Right. It quickly goes back to critical thinking. You know what I mean? Like, are you really thinking? Because when you're brainwashed, when I think of the word cult or the term cult, before I woke up, I always would think of something a little bit more extreme, kind of like outwardly. Jehovah's Witnesses don't seem extreme from the outside. They seem extreme in a way of, we're known for knocking on your doors, but that's really it. They don't celebrate holidays and they preach, but you don't understand the inner workings of it unless you are actually in it. There is no gray area.
Mental control.
The mental control. There is no gray area. You can't. There is no gray area. There's no. I want to be a witness a little bit, or no. It's either you in or you're out. That is what it is.
Or what I would tell my other friends. So I was talking to my other friend today about it, or other day. I was like, okay, there's even judging within the witness. So yes, Courtney, you're a witness, great. But you miss Sunday meeting. And you go to work on Sunday every other Sunday. Because maybe you have to feed your kids. But now I, Miss Elder's daughter, looks down on you. And you're not a whole witness. And you're bad association.
Yep.
So therefore, I can't hang with you. If you invite me out to lunch, maybe to talk to me about whatever, I can't talk with you.
Yep.
Or be seen with you. Because
it's
I'm
levels.
the eldest daughter.
Yep. It's levels to it.
Yeah.
They're always judging. It's very judgmental. And I feel like one of the things that you and I have in common that I found that I love about you is you are a strong-minded individual. And to survive something like that, like, you have to be strong, mentally, because it will take you for a ride. And I mean, for real, you know, because it will break you down. It breaks, it's,
Well,
people have committed suicide. Do you understand?
that's
And
the
these
reason
are the
why I
things
started
that they
saying
don't talk about. They don't talk about that. You don't
they
talk
don't.
about, now we can open up a whole nother can right here. They don't talk about the what? The child sexual abuse. I didn't
We're
even
gonna do
know
that on
about none
another
of that.
show.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
do that
come
on
back and
another
we'll
one.
talk about that one.
That's
Because I
crazy.
didn't even know
I
about it
didn't know about it
until
either. I said,
two
wait a
or
minute.
3 years ago.
Right.
And the Royal Commission came out and somebody said something, and I'm like, you're joking. And they go, no, blah, say, blah, say, blah. And I'm like, no, Jehovah's Witnesses, blah, say, blah, yada, yada, yada. And mind you, we're going to put a pin on it. But I had a client that was a Jehovah's Witness, because I'm a personal trainer. The referral that gave me the client told me she was JW. Okay, cool. So I just, I was me, but I wasn't going to talk about anything. And I didn't. She found out I was ex-JW on my Instagram page because one day I got mad about something and posted something on Instagram. 20 minutes later,
She
she
stopped coming to
called
you?
me. 20 minutes later, she called me. We had a 2-hour discussion. Mind you, she had just got reinstated maybe 2 months ago. She stopped coming to me 2 weeks later. And I'm like, I have never told you. I said, I've known you were Jehovah's Witness this whole time. I have never tried to tell you anything. All I've done was work you out.
Have you seen any of my apostate ways? No. I kept it strictly professional. You wouldn't have never known. So
you would have never known.
But it would have bothered her conscience. That's why. If she would have continued to go to you because you're an apostate or you're ex, whatever. So
okay.
It would have bothered her conscience, so she wouldn't have been able to sleep at night. That's why.
The whole time she was on the phone texting, because I asked her some things about the eldest book. She goes, da 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 da. No. I'm like, I asked about child sex abuse, and she has 2 daughters. Well, and excusing it away, and like many witnesses do. Well, that's just one case. That's just one case. We'll talk about that later. Courtney.
So what about the other 17,998?
No, those are false.
Right.
And we can't wait. What did they say? We cannot. The Jehovah's organization is perfect. The men who are in it are not, or some shit like that.
Yeah. It's a perfect organization ran by imperfect humans. I think that's something
that's what it is. That's what it is.
I grew up.
That's what it is. But the imperfect humans are the ones standing up and putting reproach on Jehovah's name.
Yeah.
And that's the imperfect humans, quote unquote, are the ones that run and put these litigation and rules or unneeded rules of I can't go buy 12 bottles of whiskey, or I can't wear a low-cut top, or I have to be in field service, or you know what, Courtney, since you didn't come to meeting 2 weeks ago, you're not a real Jehovah's Witness. It's the imperfect humans putting those rules in place, not Jehovah. Where in the Bible does it say I can't wear a low-cut top? Or where in the Bible does it say I can't have a glass of wine every night?
Where?
Where in the Bible did it say that we could have blood one time, not have blood for 20 years, and now we can have partials?
Where does it say that at?
And don't use the one, JWs, if you're in the comments, fine, go ahead, but don't use the one about eating blood, because eating blood is not eating blood. They were not talking about that was not even in their brains. So
I agree.
And God wants you to save your life. God gave you life. Courtney, if I gave you food right now, I would want you to eat it. Not throw it on the floor and just go, fuck you. You get what I'm saying?
Here's this beautiful cake I bought for you. Oh, what do you want me to do with it? I want you to eat it. What do you mean? What? So you give me life. God gives you life.
Right.
But yet, you don't want us to do all that we can to sustain it. But why is it that they could never really verify the whole suicide issue? Because my thing is, if you committed suicide, you took your life, but then it's like, well, will you be resurrected? And it's like, well, we don't know. Only Jehovah knows because you took your life. And it's like, what? But you're pretty much telling me if I tried to do everything I can to save my life, then what? But then it's okay for you to be a teenager or a child. You have your whole life ahead of you. And you said, no, I don't want it. You know, you with your parents backing, and it's okay for this young person to lose their life.
Too many kids have died. Too many kids, people have died. My good friend, she was on my page at one point, and her mother passed away. And she told me, Angela, the people that come to the congregation, come to the hospitals, they're not there for support. They're there to make sure you don't get the blood.
Yep. And it's just
And
like,
that's not support. Because and she said this, the time she goes, I was there picking up my mother out of the hospital. I was there. No one from the Watchtower was there. Now she's an ex-witness, but still, she goes, no one was there. I picked her up from the hospital. I fed her when she couldn't eat.
yep.
I was there.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
okay, we're going to do this again, girl, but when you're finished, how would this close this out? Tell us about yourself if someone's interested in finding you, and also your comments on how to heal yourself, make yourself better, or final encouraging words.
Sure. My final encouraging words, I would say, 2 words: get out. No, in all seriousness, few things like we mentioned about the where you're at in your journey. You know, if you are having any doubts, if you're feeling a certain type of way about the religion, some things aren't adding up to you, that's normal. Please don't ignore those feelings. Please explore. This is your life right now. This is your life. This one. So stop putting stuff off. Stop making decisions based upon this religion, because when you do your research, that's my second thing, you're going to find out what's really going on. And once you do, that will change your entire perspective on everything. And if you do decide to leave, I would definitely say, like I said, I would seek therapy. I would also seek a Jehovah's Witness community, you know, YouTube, Reddit, whatever. Try to get with those individuals that have gone through what you've gone through. I would even say, if you don't even want to do that, we all run into people that's disfellowshipped or you haven't seen in years. A lot of times, the reason why they don't come back, and I didn't know this until I decided to leave, you just think they just out there. A lot of those brothers and sisters that used to be witnesses, they've woken up and they just like, I'm okay. You know what I mean? So you may bump into people. Don't be afraid to talk about it, because that's what they want you.
You won't die if you talk to the person that's.
You will not die. You're not gonna die.
You will not die, and
you're not gonna die.
The elders do not know your Google Chrome or your Firefox site, and they will not know if you Google Jehovah's Witnesses on YouTube. Right. Because real talk, I was out in 2001, but this one right here didn't Google nothing until maybe 2015 and 2016. That was, I was still, and when I did type it in, I was scared of what I still don't know to this day. And I remember getting my hair done, and my best friend at the time, and my best friend now, she was just like, Google it. And I looked it up, and we found a video. I was like, wait, what? Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, and Seventh-day Adventists came from the same?
Yep.
Wait, what?
Yep.
Hold up.
Yep.
They don't teach this.
Nope.
They all knew each other?
Yep. As a matter of fact, they made a bogus ass video about it that we had, you know, of the origin of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and you know what happened with Charles Taze Russell and then Rutherford, and you know,
and Rutherford's the one that cut off everything. Rutherford called
right.
Christmas.
He's right.
Rutherford
exactly.
Called beards.
Exactly.
He didn't want y'all looking like
Rutherford with his crazy ass. Cause you got some issues, brother.
Rutherford did the alcohol.
Yeah. And he was a drunkard.
He was a drunkard and a womanizer, and put us
and a womanizer.
Down. And like I told somebody else, and I'll say this about Tony, there's too many of us in the organization and out of the organization. I would put myself in this, that had to deal with the shit that went on with either drink, drugs, or sex.
Yep.
Or spending money, gambling, whatever your vice is. And it's because we did so much effed up crap in the organization, and wasn't able to be ourselves. And that's the reason why we find release. And
Yep.
seeing Tony in that video,
Yep.
I'm like, oh, you suffering from it too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because looking at John Cedar's channel and all the Bethelites, every Bethelite has said, and you can't, one person, okay, two person maybe, but 5 or 10 after that, and everybody says there's an alcohol system in there. And everybody
ain't nobody gonna keep saying the same thing about a subject, and it's not some truth to it.
Exactly.
There's some truth, and then that's what the critical thinking,
right?
Because it'll be like, no. You know, it's like religion is the only thing that mankind feel like they don't have to think about. We question everything else, but religion, it's no, wait on God. God will take care of it. It was his time. It was his, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, just think about it. It's definitely an alcohol system. There's several videos on it. Several.
More than several, almost thousands. I would say. I would dare to say.
There is an alcohol system there. So I feel like, yeah, definitely don't be afraid to do your research. It will definitely help wake you up and see things from a different light. And don't be afraid to step away. You know, don't be afraid, because you're not really living. You think you're living because you're waiting on a promise that's not going to come. Don't waste your time. So I would say research, find some support groups, and exit, you know, the way that is comfortable for you. You know, it may take you a little time. That's fine. You know, I know people who it took them a while, you know, to finally come to a decision and say, you know what, I'm okay. You know, let me give it one last chance.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I say, especially in my situation, I wish I would have took some time to save some money,
Mm-hmm.
got a place, got some education.
Yep.
Maybe
lay your groundwork. Absolutely.
Get my groundwork so that when I did jump out, because I literally just jumped out and just drove to Atlanta one day and was like, oh, does anybody have a sofa? And luckily enough, I was okay with, you know, I worked out, but still, I wish I did. If you had the time, take the time, be a little faded, go to school, what have you.
Yes, absolutely.
Go to school. But if you don't have the time in a jump, then call the Exodus group, call support groups. I say the Jehovah's, honestly, real talk, the Reddit community, the Facebook community, the YouTube community, you put something up there, we're all there.
Yep.
And we don't know you, but just hashtag SJW.
Yep.
And I've seen it. There was a person on Reddit that says, I'm 15 years old, yada, 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 this, that, and I don't know what to do, and I really don't want to go to this meeting. And someone's like, sweetheart, it's okay. Just keep talking to us, but you're not alone.
You're not alone.
I like to say.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Courtney, so much for being here.
Oh, wait, I got to tell you where y'all can find me at.
Oh, yes, sorry, yes. Where you can find you at, girl? Because we're going to find you at.
So, for now, you know, I'm just really on Instagram, pretty_mommy. So that's PRETTI_MAMI, pretty mommy. And my YouTube is Courtney Nicole. And I'm on Facebook as well, but not really. But right now, those are my Instagram and my YouTube. So yeah, come check me out. Come follow me. And what you're doing on your YouTube channels? I said you're gonna be doing some makeup pretty soon. I definitely want to branch off into other topics. Like I said, you know, we talked about earlier. Inside joke, y'all. I want to branch into, you know, some other topics because this is my backstory, but, you know, there's other things that interest me as well. But I'll continue to talk about the JW community for forever. You know, it's a part of me. But I want to do some other topics. I have a couple of things lined up with relationship talk. I mentioned I suffer from anxiety. So mental health is something that's really big with me, especially with the Black community, because I just feel that it's something that we don't really like to talk about too much. You know, we kind of sweep that under the rug, and it's time for us to talk about it. And that's something that I want to touch on, health and wellness, you know, different things like that. I'm not necessarily a health guru, but, you know, I did have a weight loss journey. So, you know, just some things that. So now you know one. So there we go. We're going to work together on that one. There we go. You're gonna definitely we're gonna be definitely doing some things together soon. So Good.
Courtney, thank you for joining us. You guys, thank you for watching. I know this is a little bit long, but so much valuable information here. Courtney, you are a powerful sister, a powerful rock, a powerful woman.
Thank you.
I'm thankful for you and your family tonight or today for being here. And you got 2 boys, I think.
Yes, 2 boys. Yep.
2 lovely boys. They're in her video. They interrupted one of her videos, so you gotta watch her videos and see her boys. So, you know, watch Courtney, support Courtney, and make sure you just know that you know what, you're not alone, and it's life after being an ex-Jehovah's Witness. And I think honestly, it's a more prosperous life than it was than being a Jehovah's Witness. You guys take care. Courtney, take care. You are stronger than you think, you guys. I will talk to you soon. Make sure you share, subscribe, and support us on Patreon. We'll talk to you soon. Good night.